Hey y'all, IrixGuy here. Now I've had some problems in the studio. I don't have my studio camera and I don't have, well, really anything. I've got my audio working, but I don't, I'm not going to let it interfere with the show because we're live now. I promised everyone a show. Everyone out there that is part of this show, you should be receiving an invite. If you haven't, let me know. And obviously this right here, just while I test my equipment, this is Snagbear. Snagbear.com. So if you haven't found snagbear.com yet, it is quite possibly the best place online for drones, GoPros, camera equipment, you name it. Snagbear.com. So I apologize for the poor audio here. Let me step away and get my microphone or my headset, and I'll be right back, everyone. Hey, Uniston, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing good.
Good. I got to get my headset.
No problem.
I had problems in the studio. Ooh. Yeah, I switched over from the Canon XA10 to another camera, and it's not working with my. I use a program called Cam Twist, and it's not working with that. Okay, can you hear me now?
I'm getting a little bit of lag.
Cool. Yeah, there's a 30-second broadcast delay, but okay, yeah, the audio is coming through my earpiece now. Hey, at least we're we're stepping in the right direction, man. How are you doing today?
Okay. Let's see what's supposed to do. So this is already on, like live?
Yeah, it's live right now. I wanted to open it up early, but people are seeing the lack of experience on my end, man. I tell you, I messed this show up.
Well, that's why I gave it to you instead of taking it myself.
We should have some other people too. I think plus or the little bell icon.
It's breaking up a little bit. I don't know if that's on my end or your end.
I'm sure it's on my end. Yeah, I'm gonna restart my Hangouts toolbox, and I'll be right back. I'm gonna start it from my other computer. So everyone out there that's watching live right now, these are problems in the studio, okay. And I'm about to reopen.
Okay.
Okay, now I've just got to get this paired with my other computer here.
Okay. Yeah, it's better now.
Cool. Yeah, I think it was I was on a MacBook Air over there. Let me turn that off. Okay, we've got a lot of viewers coming in now. I apologize for the technical difficulties here. We'll be through these here in just a couple minutes. Sean Cooner, you gotta move over that way for a second. Whoa, nope. Nope. He's attacking my headset. Hold on. Whoa. Hold on just a second here. Hey, Sean Coonery, this is not a toy. Nope. We got studio problems. I'm just getting my headset paired, and we should be good to go here.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. No. Nope. Getting attacked. Yeah, if I can get this paired up, we'll be good. It was paired to my laptop, and I turned it off.
Okay.
And it's just something simple, I'm sure. Let's see. Oh no! Now I turned my Bluetooth off. Ah! Oh no! Now I've got problems. I gotta plug in a regular mouse here to get. Oh man! We've almost got it. I got to turn my Bluetooth back on. I did the dumbest thing. I turned my Bluetooth off.
On the computer?
And now I don't have a wired keyboard or mouse to plug in to turn it on. Yeah, just a second.
Okay.
Okay, so here's the problem, everyone. I have turned off, trying to get my headset to sync up. I've turned off my Bluetooth, which means I can't type. Or actually, I've got a solution. I'm going to, and this is called troubleshooting live. Didn't mean for all this to happen. I'm sorry. We're going to get on with the show here in a second. So what I'm going to do is actually connect to my iMac with Retina that I'm on right here by way of my MacBook Air, and I'm going to use the mouse on my MacBook Air to re-enable the Bluetooth, which will then enable me to type. So let's see if this works. Yes. Okay, so troubleshooting episode is concluded. We're going to get into good stuff here. Let me just pair my Bluetooth headset now without creating problems. And I know everybody else, I'm getting all your text right here on my phone. To join, what you need to do, if you're a presenter like Unison and I are, to join, what you need to do is click that bell towards the top right, and you should have an invite from me. If you don't, send me another message, and I'll send it again. Maybe it didn't come through. Just get my headset hooked up here, and we'll be good to go.
Okay.
Nope, nope, don't attack me. Nope. Okay, almost there. Okay, here we go.
Got
Had to
enough?
put it in pairing mode. Now, Okay, I think I've got it. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay, so sorry everyone for the technical difficulties. This is a budget operation, youtube.com/IrixGuy's. So apparently the audio and video crew were on vacation and had to troubleshoot this myself. So I'm in an improvised studio. I don't have my chroma key. I don't have the good camera. I'm speaking on a webcam, but who cares, because it's all about the content. And we've got a lot of big names within the drone arena with us today. The first person we have is Unisden, and I'm going to go ahead and hand the show over to Unisden. Unisden, did I pronounce your YouTube channel name correctly? And what would you like to tell the viewers about your channel?
Well, my channel, basically, I do a lot of stuff on the Bebop drone. That's the one I just got into now. Also some different things with GoPro, which I just started getting into a little bit more. I'm pretty new onto YouTube, actually, putting content up there. I've played around with it a little bit here and there for years, but never really got serious with it. And just recently, I just started putting stuff up and, getting some response and everything. So, I just keep putting stuff up like that, a lot of reviews. Answer a lot of questions if I can that people have asked about the Bebop and stuff like that. Basically, I plan to expand it a little bit more into more traveling and just outdoors type stuff. Putting it up on the channel and seeing what people like and going that route. Are you hearing me? Or? I don't hear you.
Yeah, I couldn't hear you until I corrected my speaker problem, because I had an audio problem, but I think the audio was picked up within the YouTube. So
Okay.
if you just want to, if you want to say your intro again really quick, I'll just make sure that it came through okay.
No problem. Yeah, basically that on my channel I do a lot of stuff with the Bebop drone, doing reviews on that and different how-tos on it, what my findings are with it. As far as putting content on the channel, I'm pretty new. I just started really putting stuff on there. I've played around with it here and there a little bit for a few years, that I put a couple little things on, but never tried to produce content and get it going. So right now it's pretty much just focused on like the Bebop and different GoPro things that I'm trying out, put up some interesting, what I think is interesting videos, stuff like that.
Yeah, and actually I wanted to say you were one of the when I was in. You may have seen this from my past videos. I've always been a big DJI Phantom guy, and you were one of the people. You and Michael, is it Michael Kincaid?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish he could have been on the show with us tonight. He's got some really cool Bebop videos too. But I like the, and that's obviously this will segue us into the informal agenda that we have for this show. But one of the big things we wanted to talk about is the evolution of drones and how we're seeing lighter, just like with the cell phone. When we had the first cell phone, it was in a bag. It had a big battery. The battery life was pitiful. The cell phone reception was pitiful because the technology wasn't there yet. And what we're seeing now with drones, we're seeing the proof of concept. We're seeing the larger drone, and now we're starting to see it shrink to a smaller package. And in theory, that should be a step forward, because we should be seeing a smaller and more lightweight drone that the people can fly, and it's perceived as being less intimidating. If you see a Bebop flying over your head versus a Phantom or the Inspire One. Now that one, that's a really to a lot of people, they could be like, that's intimidating, you know. And I think there's value in the smaller and lighter, but you know, from your experience, and I know you've posted some really good videos, but this is an unfiltered, you know, telling everybody what we think and gathering feedback. Speaking of that, gathering feedback from the viewers, my comment interface is about to be up, so let me get that. If you're watching this live, you can comment, and we can respond to your comments or questions in real time here. There is a 30-second broadcast delay, so you know, be prepared if we don't respond immediately. That's what's going on. And again, I apologize for the disorganization here. It's been we've had problems in the studio, so it's an improvised setup right now. But yeah, Eunice, and so from your experience with the Bebop so far, do you think it's technology that's there yet? Do you think it could be improved? What do you think with the Bebop could be made better, or I mean, what's it doing right?
It definitely can be improved. They do have issues. Right now, I have two. I have one that I actually bought back in December, and that one I have a trouble ticket with it right now. I'm gonna actually send it back to Parrot. With this last update, gets GPS locked, but it doesn't hold it. And then the Bebop that I have with the Phantom has no issue at all in flying perfect. So I know that there's an issue. I actually think it's an updating issue. It's not, to me, it's not something that's wrong with the software. The hardware. It's something with the software. And I think in the process of the drone, some of them are going fine, not having any issues, and some are having an issue with an update. And that's where I think they need to work on the software. And obviously, this is the first generation of the camera stabilization. And I think it's a very unique way to go about it. As far as making the drone small, to me, it's awesome. You know, you can. When I fly it, because I use it for checking roofs, doing stuff like that on my job, and as far as flying it in residential areas, I don't get any crazy looks. Most of the time, people think it's one of the little toy helicopters you buy at the mall. So, as far as that's going, I see that as a very positive way, and there's a lot of room for improvement. But I know there's some people that aren't crazy about the Bebop. And I can see why it does have its issues, but I think supporting that technology and letting it move in that direction, as stuff advances, it'll get a lot better.
And that brings up a good point too. You mentioned that you contacted Parrot. Were they somewhat responsive, or have they responded yet?
Yeah, I actually called them up, and from looking at the forums, I was a little scared. The forums have it that it's been a nightmare, but I called them up. I got somebody right away. I explained to them what was going on. They told me to go through the website and create a ticket. I created the ticket, and within a day, of going back and forth, they sent me the information to go ahead, box it up, ship it to them. They'll take a look at it. As long as it's defective, they'll ship me out a new one. So
yeah, that's something.
If they do that, I don't see where the issue is. They're taking care of it in that sense. To me, that's fine with me. They told me to ship back everything as far as the batteries, the propellers, and everything. They was like, do you want just a drone, or you want the whole package? So like, send the whole package. If we're gonna send you another one, we'll send you a brand new one. So for me, if they take care of me like that, then I have no problem with the support.
Yeah, and that's something on the and again, as you know, I use all the drones, but that's something that's been a complaint, at least in the past, with DJIs, that they tend to be unresponsive, and if they do respond, it's we'll have that gimbal repaired for you in about 3 or 4 months. It's kind of a delayed process with them, and I like how Parrot's being more proactive with their support, and something you mentioned earlier about the firmwares, and because I had the original Parrot Bebop without Sky Controller, and then I got the bundle with the Sky Controller. So I had two Bebops. Sold the original because I didn't need two of them. But I noticed subtle differences. The original one I got, I'm assuming it was probably from the first batch they created. After I did the firmware update on it, there was that issue with the video where it would do I guess the best way to describe it is kind of a pop and stutter, the video spasm or whatever you want to call it. And the firmware corrected it on that one. But the one that came with my Sky Controller bundle, even with the latest firmware, I would still get that. Are you still getting the pops and the?
Yeah, on my original drone, I never had that issue at all. No matter from the day I got it, it never had any problem. The one that I got from the Sky Controller bundle, when I got it, the firmware 1.33 was already out. So I updated to it, and I never had a problem with the glitch with that one either. So the only time I've noticed that it wasn't the way that it glitched in a lot of people's videos, but when I pan it to like an extreme angle with the camera, and I have action film, I'll get a little bit of a glitch there. Not like the big jump that a lot of people are having.
Yeah, and it's interesting you brought up about the panning, because that's, with mine, my original theory is that maybe it was, when you're doing any sort of software-assisted image stabilization, when you're adding another motion to it, it tends to create problems. And I thought, well, maybe it's isolated to the fact that I was panning around when I was flying, because I was trying that. But then I did a continuous flight without any panning, and I still got the error. And that was with the most current firmware as of the end of January, or was it end of January or 1st of January when they released the first firmware update?
I think it was close to the middle, I think, of January. They were supposed to come out at a certain date, and they put out a notice they weren't going to come out with it, the full update, which was the one they actually just came out with in February.
Okay, I'm not sure if I installed that one or not. I'll be frank with the viewership. I no longer have the Bebop. I kind of got frustrated with it.
Yeah, a lot of people have. I kind of knew what I was getting into when I bought it. I looked at it as a sense that it is brand new, and I really like the form factor. That's what I've stuck with. Just the size of it. I mean, I really love the video that comes out on the Phantom with the GoPro Hero, but the size of it is just, it's bigger. I really like that small size of the drone, even though I agree with what you had said before on one of your videos about the controller being smaller. If they made the Sky Controller smaller, it'd be awesome. But I rather have the smaller drone up in the air, especially for what I use it for most of the time. The smaller drone works better for me. So I kind of stick with that a little bit, and I haven't had a lot of trouble with mine. The first big issue that wasn't operator error was this last update with the original drone. And for me, if they're going to replace it, that keeps me happy. I'm not too upset about it. I have heard horror stories of them waiting and waiting and waiting for them to get shipped out. We'll see how it actually goes out. Mine's going out tomorrow. So, I'll see how long it takes once it gets there for them to turn around and see what their customer service is really like.
Well, and that's good that you're patient and you're willing to wait, and it's also a positive that as we had mentioned earlier, Parrot, they actually support their product. But the only thing I wish is that they had acknowledged on day one that, any new release is not going to be perfect day one, but if they had at least, here's a good example. Let's look at and this thing is this is a whole different animal, but the Amazon Echo. The Amazon Echo is basically a glorified alarm clock. They're saying they're going to sell for $199. I got mine for $99, and certain Prime members were able to get in and get it early, but that's an example of technology that they know, that Amazon knows when they released it, that it's not going to be the full-fledged, do everything 100% silky. they sent it out at half the price to select people to just kind of get their feedback. And I wish that Parrot, and I understand why they didn't, because with the drone space, really the only true competitor, and I know there's some other drones out there, Hubsons and Q500s or whatever, but from a marketing perspective, to your mass consumer, your mass potential consumer, really the only two drones that are a commercial level, not professional level, that you would find if you're going on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, etc., you're going to be flooded. You're going to be bombarded with Parrot ads and DJI ads, and that's just because those two players have pretty much penetrated the market. I know there's a lot of competitors now. We've got AirDog. You wear a bracelet, it'll follow you around. I'd love to get my hands on one of those to review. You've got there's another brand, it's 3D Robotics or something. I mean, there's a lot of brands that look cool, but it's one of those things when, as a consumer, when you're going to buy it, there may be value in going with a larger company, just like you were saying with Parrot. I mean, you're getting a ton of support. And,
yeah.
I mean, that's cool, but I wish they had released it in a way saying, hey, you know, we're not 100% there yet. Because for me, with the video and those jerks and those pops, for me, that's unacceptable. And I mean, this rig over here that I've got, and I'll bring it to the camera. This right here is my favorite so far, and I'm sure y'all have seen the videos. It's the just the Phantom 2, and it could be the regular Phantom 2, but I opted to go with the version 3, so I got the upgraded remote. And by the way, you can buy the upgraded remote separately. If you watch any of my Phantom 2 videos, it's there. I mean, the price changes, but it's hovering around $100. So if you want to get the older one, you could do that. But this is without a doubt the most silky smooth aerial platform that I've had my hands on yet.
Yeah.
And it's 4K, obviously, because of the GoPro. But from a cost perspective, I would challenge anyone out there to show me a drone that can do 4K Ultra HD as silky smooth as this at the price point that it comes in at.
Yeah. There you go.
But to your point, this is big. To me, this is still a big drone, and that's what I like about the Bebop. It's small.
Yeah, definitely. With what you were saying about the jerking video, that when I watch those, it drives me nuts. It just doesn't look good. If mine was doing that, I really would have had a problem. But I probably would have sent it in if I got another one back, especially seeing that some of them don't have that issue. And at first I thought, when I bought the package, I was petrified to get rid of my original because it didn't have that issue. I was like, well, if I get the new one and it has it, I'll sell the new one and I'll want my original. But I don't have the issue. It works out fine for me. But what I wish Parrot really would have done, and I think it would have helped them out a lot, is if they put better menu out there, information to begin. Because when I got mine in December, and there was barely any information anywhere about it. You know, there was, you open up you saw, I'm sure you read the manual that they had in there, that didn't have any information. And, you know, I'm relatively new to the whole drone thing. I've done RC back in the past. My first drone was drone. And I didn't know about calibrating the brim and doing all this stuff. And of course, I started with the free flight app in the iPhone. And I had it set to 8 mode. I didn't know how to use it. And I went to go look. I lifted up the phone and the drone turned back and out. So I was like, I just bought it, and I'm like, oh, don't tell me I wrecked it already. And it held up. That's one thing I have to say. It does take crashes pretty well. I've crashed mine quite a few times, pretty hard. Luckily not. It's held together.
And that's one of the good point. Well, actually, an awesome point you made about the Bebop is that my first one I had, not the Sky Controller, but the I mean, and obviously it's the same drone, it just didn't come bundled with the Sky Controller in the box, but I crashed it it fell about, and this was a rookie mistake. I hit the, and that's something they need to fix, is that emergency button, because I inadvertently hit it, and of course the engines came off, and it fell about 10 or 15 feet, no damage at all.
Yeah.
And have you had the little legs, the little rubberized feet? Have you had any of those fall off? I know that's been a complaint.
Yeah, my first drone, within the second day, I was missing 2 of them because I didn't realize they popped off. That was for my first couple of days with the accident that I had, and hitting a couple little things here and there, and then within another day, another one fell off, and then I took the other one off and I put it on the side. I was like, well, when they come out with parts, I'll buy new ones. And then when I got the one in the Sky controller, that one has it. I haven't lost those yet. But the Sky controller definitely makes it a lot easier to fly.
Yeah, I would say on a scale of 1, and this is just my opinion with the Sky controller, I would say on a scale of 1 to 10, with the with using a tablet, whatever mode you may use with that, or the Sky controller, I would say the tablet, even though it's portable, I would give it about a 3 out of 10 from a tactile feel perspective. And when I'm using the Sky controller, it feels as good, if not better, than the DJI Phantom. But then I'm carrying around that that monstrosity. I mean, I've got to tell myself, am I going to travel with a tiny drone and this big thing, or am I going to travel with a somewhat small drone but still heavier and bulkier and not anywhere near the size of a Bebop, and a tiny controller, or a somewhat small controller? So for me, it's I don't know why Parrot would do that. They had the perfect model with the I mean, it's like, well, let's sell someone a Hummer or whatever the big huge SUV is. Let's sell them that, and then let's give them a I don't know, it's just something ridiculously small, like a let's sell someone a brand new truck, and let's give them a I don't know, charm bracelet. A charm bracelet. It's something ridiculous. I mean, what are they thinking? I mean, it's like, you got to know your customer.
Yeah, what I think is ideally sized. Like, the only reason why I didn't stick with the Shield, which I have, the NVIDIA Shield to fly with, was the range isn't the biggest issue, because I've seen people get around 400 meters with this thing, which isn't, when you're talking about drones, it's not really that far, but for what I really needed for it, it's more than adequate. But the only issue that I had with this is that when you're flying it and you let go of the sticks, they don't seem to center. So if you're flying forward and you let go of the stick, it'll continue to drift forward. It won't go the same speed, it'll slow down, but it continues to drift in that direction. And you can compensate for it, but it was, when you're getting in close, especially around houses, I needed something a little bit more precise, and I needed to be able to stop. When I let go of the stick, it stops,
Did you notice the same when you're using the Sky controller? Did you notice the same drift with it that you got with the Shield, or was it the Shield?
No, when I let go of the stick of the Sky controller, it pretty much stops. I mean, there's a little bit of drift regardless. I've noticed on both of the Bebops. When you have it hovering, it'll move around a little bit. Not a lot, but a little bit. But with the Shield, it definitely had a lot more drift. But when you look at the size, if you hold it up, to me, this should be the size of the controller for the controller. If they paired something like this with the range and the control with the Bebop, that's the perfect size package for everything.
Yeah, and I agree. And for everyone out there that's watching, check out Unisden's channel. He's the gentleman that was speaking a moment ago with the Shield, and he's got an extensive amount of how-to materials for how he did that. So if you've got a Bebop and you don't want to get the Sky controller and you want the enhanced portability, go with the Shield option, because you can do it yourself, and you can get that tactile feel in a lot smaller form factor. So so check that out for sure. Other stuff with the Bebop, man. I mean, it was, I spent a few days with it out in the field, and I will admit, if I had not gotten the Sky Controller, I would have been really confused by what it was. But after flying it with the Sky Controller and getting the, like you were saying, if you let go of the stick, I mean, it'll pretty much hover. I mean, it's to be as small and lightweight as it was, even in about 20, I brought it up in about 20-mile-per-hour winds, and it was still able to hover. I mean, it fluttered, about like that. I mean, not much, but I mean, for strong winds, I was absolutely amazed at how well it could handle. It handled about as well as the Phantom. I mean, this is a lot heavier craft with a lot heavier motors on it, but yeah, I mean, there's so much there, and I mean, I don't really want to make this entire show about the Bebop, but the Bebop has been so impressive that it's one of those things that I feel it's important to bring this to the table, because DJI, they've already got their name established. I mean, they're not going anywhere. Hey, GoPro, when GoPro puts the drone out, it may displace DJI, but right now DJI is #1, and I don't think there's any way to say otherwise from a performance perspective. But with that said, the opportunity, I think that Parrot has a greater opportunity, and all they need to do, like you were saying, they need to have that smaller controller, because it's ridiculous. I mean, heck, make it the same size as DJI Phantom.
Yeah.
Maybe even have a Wi-Fi range extender that can attach to the controller. Maybe you just set it on the ground or whatever, but provide that same range, and make your, because that was one of the best things, man. This backpack over here. This backpack that I use for the Bebop, and sure, it's loaded down with camera gear, but being able to throw that in a backpack was great. But when I put the Bebop in there, I couldn't put the Sky Controller in there. And if you're going to go with the Sky Controller, then you're getting into a case that's
yeah, I got one right here.
I want to see that thing. I bet it's huge.
It's the Pelican 1600 is what I got in it.
See, that's big. That's bigger than this right here. Is the Phantom 2 case.
Yeah.
So you're really carrying. It's taller than this, I think.
Yeah, this one. I don't know what the specs are as far as the width. I forget what it was. But there is another case that they have that holds the Sky Controller that I was looking at. It comes out of China, and the way that they placed it is a really good idea, and it would cut the size of this case down quite a bit, and I can still carry everything I carry in it. The problem is that it's an aluminum case, and it costs more than the Pelican cost, and it's not waterproof, it's not rugged, it's so I was like, I'm going to spend that much money for a case that I'm going to feel, if I have to take it on a plane and check it, or I'm not going to feel comfortable with it being in there. But the way that they did it, they actually had the Sky Controller, and they have it so that the Bebop sits inside the Sky Controller. So it does limit down the size. You can actually compact it down a little bit. But like I said, unless it was a hard case like this, I won't use it.
Okay, and you know what? And I'm the same way, man. If I can't swim with it, beat it into a wall. Let TSA handle it and throw it on the pavement or whatever they do. I can't justify having it. And we had a viewer in the video comments. He said, "Hey, IrixGuy, talk about the Inspire One." And obviously, if everybody out there doesn't know already what the Inspire One is, it's the drone that DJI released, and they had a lot of buzz surrounding it. They had this launch event out on the West Coast somewhere, and they had the Mythbusters, Jamie and Adam. They were out there in the audience, so they made it kind of a very secretive event, and they really wanted to impact the audience with a feeling of shock and awe. Now, obviously, this Phantom, whether it's this Phantom 2, Phantom 2 Vision Plus, Phantom 1 for that matter, these definitely shocked people when they came out because they were something that people had not seen before, and they were revolutionary. Now the Inspire One, when DJI released it, it was I don't feel that they necessarily had the reaction that they wanted to pump up, and I mean this in a good way. As you can tell, I'm a big DJI guy. My favorite drone right at this point in time is this right here, the one that I just got, the Phantom 2, and you can check out my videos and build it for yourself. I've got all the links to everything, but I don't think that the Inspire One was became what their vision was. They had this dream. They said, we're going to make something that lifts the landing gear up and it's 4K Ultra HD, and we're going to create the kill-all of drones, and we're going to have dual controller options so that you can have somebody flying the drone, another person using the camera. And where they failed with the Inspire One, in my opinion, is that, and this is just my opinion, I want to see everyone's, we're getting all the comments coming in here right now. I want to know what y'all think about it. So, number one, the price, and let's hit that first. I feel that the price is too high for a consumer level drone, and I don't feel that the features are rich enough for a professional level drone, meaning that you're limited to their camera, which DJI makes good cameras. I really enjoy their camera with the Phantom 2 Vision Plus, but do you really want to be limited if you're spending that amount of money for a drone to using a DJI camera only when you're spending multiple $1,000s? Now, if they could bring it down, and let's say even if price wasn't an issue, let's move on to the other things, and let's see what everyone thinks about this here. And I see Bob Public Cover right here in the comments. He said Inspire One needs to be at a $2,000 price point, and actually I couldn't agree more. But let's attack it. Let's say that Inspire One was at a $2,000 US price point today. Would it still be a good buy? Here's the problems I have with the Inspire One personally. Now I love DJI, and I've got to throw that disclaimer out. I really do, because this is my favorite drone at this point in time. But I don't like the Inspire One. The battery life is not as good. A proven platform like the Phantom 2, it's been out longer. You can get aftermarket batteries. You can get, these prop guards. You saw my prop guards. There's my little quick disconnects for them. I've got them in my case over there. But it's the amount of accessories you can get already for the Phantom 2 at affordable price that's not yet available for the Inspire One. And there's a lot of reasoning behind that. It's not just because the Inspire One is new and they want to create this perceived shortage to make people feel like, oh, I've got Inspire One, I'm cool. And you notice they had it at one of those popular shows, and I probably shouldn't say the name of the show, but it was a Hollywood show out in California, and they were on a red carpet out there, and they had this Inspire One flying over. Product placement. I mean, it's one of those things that, in theory, the technology is good, and I like how the landing gear lifts up in flight. Obviously, anything that you have that could potentially enter the frame of the camera, and this at times, if I'm in severe wind and I pan a certain way, I may get a little bit of that landing gear in there. You can get aftermarket landing gear, and I may do that, spread out wider, so I wouldn't get it in my shot. So the fact that the landing gear on the Inspire One goes up, that's a cool feature, but is it necessary? If you can rig your drone in a way with landing gear to where it wouldn't even enter the frame, it's more of a novelty. It's more of a cool, hey, I can lift my landing gear up, watch me fly. Hey, my drone looks like an alien, or something like that. I think it's more of a, I feel that the Inspire One, at least at this point in time, is more of a bragging rights kind of thing. It's like, oh, I've got the Inspire One, look at this, it'll do this, it'll do that. I think it's more of a bragging rights thing, like, cooler, newer, better, and that's the marketing perspective they want to take with it. And honestly, I don't know if they're doing really as well as they had hoped, because Phantom is still their best thing. And I mean, I can't wait to see the Phantom 3. And I don't think that they should. I don't think that they should be going after going after consumer, your non-professional, just your consumer grade customer with such an expensive drone. I think they need to, as Bob had mentioned, lower the price. But even at that price, I still don't like it. It's too big to travel with. The Inspire One, if you think going through the airport with this, or I mean a Bebop, which is even smaller, even more portable, imagine getting an Inspire One where you're having to carry this big rig. If you're going to carry that, you may want to consider a hexacopter, something you can put a Lumix GH4 or something like that. Get some really super duper professional quality Ultra HD video out of, beyond GoPro. Something better than that. But what DJI needs to do, in my opinion, they need to get this Phantom 3 to market, and they need to get it to market quickly, because right now we're on the brink of something big. GoPro's entering the game. GoPro is publicly traded. GoPro has, and I don't know the exact amount, GoPro has money. They have money to play with. It's like, well, how could we make this better? We've already got GoPro cameras in the hands of everyone, and the mounts, from upgrade to upgrade, they can still use those mounts. Let's get a drone. Let's penetrate the drone business. And also with the weight, when you're looking at Inspire One, it's a heavier drone. Should the FAA finalize the regulations, if you read what they've been, what's throughout the news, the media are saying that the Inspire One, or not the Inspire One, the media are saying that there may be special permissions for drones weighing at or below X amount of weight. So see, there's a perk for your Bebop, there's a perk for your still somewhat small Phantom 2, and there's a big for the Inspire One. So what are your thoughts?
My thoughts, the Inspire One looks cool. I would love to have one just to fly around at Halloween playing the Terminator music behind it. It's really cool to go run around and chase the cage with it. But there's a lot of cool features. I do like the way that the landing gear coming up, it's cool. It looks cool when it takes off. It looks cool. Having 4K is obviously a plus. I see, but like you said, with the Phantom, you can get 4K with the GoPro, and it's a lot cheaper. The price for me on the Inspire is just too high for what it is. For me, if I'm going to spend that much, I'm going to spend a little bit more, and I'll get a hexacopter or something I can put a really good camera on. I'll spend some more money if I'm going to go that route. But as far as my thoughts on the flight time, definitely should be longer for what it's cost. Even at $2,000, if you drop the cost of $2,000 for it, to me, it still needs a longer flight time, because 17 minutes on that, for me, it's not worth it. The size of it, carrying it around, I already look at the Phantom as Phantom's baby. I'm used to the Bebop already. So, you go into that thing's big, and to me, it's intimidating. That's the other issue I have with it. Not that they all crash, but I'm sure you saw the one video of the guy who does the real estate videos that it hit the garage. Even that was a malfunction, and you got it straightened out. But even out of malfunction, someone's using it, and they get it, and they don't take the time to learn how to fly it. Or I don't know how DJI's instructions are. Like I said, Parrots were terrible, but if someone doesn't take the time to learn and have respect for that, you can really hurt somebody with that, and that opens up to another issue with lawsuits and everything else. That's where my concern is out on it, as far as a consumer product being something that big and heavy.
And that's a good point, I guess. Like with with cars and trucks and all that, you've got insurance companies that already have certain criteria. It's if it's a red car, or if it's got exercise engine or whatever, it can affect how much someone would have to spend for insurance. So, to your point, I think that's another win for the smaller and lighter drone, because from an ownership perspective and and a liability perspective, it's probably going to be something once the once they legalize this, it's going to be something that people are going to say, well, you know, I could get that really heavy drone, but I'm going to be paying X amount of insurance. We have a viewer that asked you a really good question. It's Snap Raptor is the name of the person. They said, if Parrot released a 4K camera for the Bebop with close to the same quality your Phantom 2 could produce, would it become your favorite quadcopter?
Not for me.
Yeah. You go ahead. You go first. I'll go next.
Yeah, if Parrot had the 4K, of course it'd be. I already like the Parrot. You know, like I said, I've seen the videos you did with the 4K with the Phantom, and it really makes me want to get one. It probably is going to be in my future. My only issue that I'm looking at is I do know, like you said, GoPro's going to be coming out with a drone, and with the possibility of a Phantom 3, I just want to. I'm not in need of one right now, so I might wait a little bit. But it's yeah, if Parrot came out with a 4K camera that the stabilization maybe was even a little bit better. And my biggest issue with the Parrot, believe it or not, is the low light video quality. There's sometimes I don't really fly at night. There's been a couple night flights I've done. I actually tried to get one of the rocket launches from the Cape with it, but the low light is just terrible, and I think it has to do a lot with the stabilization in it as well. But when you know, even when with the slightest movement, everything blurs on the screen. Which I don't know if you did any like flights with the light level low outside, but that's one thing they need to work on.
Yeah, that's a huge point, and I did, and it was to your point, it was so crappy that I deleted the video and I didn't even upload it to YouTube, and I think that's a you know, the low light performance of it. That's a good example of why. Well, think about this, and back to the question that the viewer had about the 4K. If you've got 4K and I'm going to kind of break it down in a non-technical perspective for everybody out in the audience. But if you've got HD, you've got one thing this size right here. Now, if you've got 4K, you've got 4 of these. So from a physical size perspective, think about it, you know, HD here, and then 4K, 4 times that size, physical size. So think about it from a video perspective. And if you're, you know, maybe you've got your landing gear in the shot because you banked really hard, whatever the case may be, if you've got a picture that's small versus a picture that's wide, when you've got that wider picture, you've got more real estate to be able to crop out the imperfections. So from a software stabilized video solution, if the Parrot Bebop was a 4K versus a 1080p, in theory, what they should be able to do is create 100% awesome 1080p video because it's 4K, and with their image stabilization and whatnot, in theory, it should be able to be perfect software created 1080p video, even though it's recorded natively at 4K. Now, I've never been a fan of any sort of software stabilization. When I do my cameras, you know, even my handheld cameras, I'll use it on a monopod or a gimbal, so I don't have any sort of post production that I'm doing to make that video look better than it is. And for that reason, I like the technology. I admire Parrot for their technology, but I still feel that if they, and this is my own opinion, I know it's going to get a lot of potentially negative feedback, but if Parrot would put aside their pride for just a little bit and look at what they have, and you mentioned this earlier as well, they have a very durable, small and lightweight craft. It can crash. I never broke a Parrot Bebop prop, and that was even after a 15-foot fall. It's a very well-engineered piece of machinery, and I know they're so proud of their software. But what if they engineered some sort of, I mean, this is a big gimbal that you have on the Phantom 2. It is. Zenmuse H3 3D. From a size perspective, it's pretty big. But what if Parrot took their research and development dollars, and what if they put that towards creating a camera for the already great form factor Parrot Bebop that doesn't require software stabilization to create the video effect that it's silky smooth like a gimbal does. So you're able to throw that out. You're getting natively, perfectly recorded video without any sort of software enhancements, and you've still got the same small form factor that, without a doubt, is going to be beneficial from a travel perspective, a liability perspective, when and if they legalize drones, and a lot of other avenues there as well. So I think that's the direction that Parrot really needs to take. And something else that comes into play with this, I don't want to bore everyone. This right here is the LiPo guard, and you can find these are everywhere. I've got them on. If you watch my video, you can order them from there as well. But this is important because something that people don't think about, and I've got 3 batteries in here, by the way. The Phantom 2 battery, same battery as a Vision Plus. This is the aftermarket battery, extra milliamp, so it flies longer. That's one thing I like about the Phantom 2 and the Phantom 2 Vision Plus is that you do get longer flight time, but you got a lot bigger battery. That's an advantage that the Bebop has. With the factory Bebop battery, you're probably still going to get around 10 minutes. With an aftermarket battery with a higher milliamp rating, you're probably going to get well over 10 minutes, and it's the same form factor. So from a weight perspective, if you hold a Bebop battery in your hand and then a Phantom 2 battery, this is a lot heavier, and that's another advantage to the Bebop. And I think that one of the problems here, though, and something everyone should be aware of, is that these LiPos, these things can combust, catch on fire. So if you don't store your batteries in a bag, if you store them in a case, and I didn't start storing them in this until a few weeks ago when I was watching videos on YouTube. It's good to, and I'm not even sure if this bag works, but I don't want to find out. So if you've got one of these bags and you want to sacrifice it out in the field on a safe environment on YouTube, go for it, because I would like to see how this bag or a similar bag would handle something burning on the inside.
How many of these you think will fit in there?
What's that?
How many of these you think will fit?
Oh man,
these are the 2500 milliamps that I use.
In this bag right here, you would probably fit, just eyeballing it, probably 6 or 8. Seriously.
Yeah. Because these are what I use to fly the Bebop. These are the factory ones, and these are what I actually use to fly it most of the time. These I get around 14 minutes of flight with. So that's why I started using these. And these you can, well, the price, they were really cheap. I picked mine up for around $21.
That's not bad.
And then one of the other guys, Kenneth, that's on here, also has a Bebop. We started telling everyone, oh, they work really good. You should pick them up, and now they're like $30.
Popularity breeds price increase. But just so everybody out there sees this, I've got 1 battery, 2 batteries, and 3 batteries. So this bag will hold all of that. So, and you may be able to put 4 in there, but it'd be kind of tight. And that brings up another point. Something that's good about the Phantom 2 and the Phantom 2 Vision Plus right now versus the Bebop is that there's a lot of aftermarket batteries. Like this right here is called a drone battery, and this is called a lime fuel. And you can find these on Snag Bear, but I mean, from a design perspective, it's hard to distinguish them from the original equipment manufacturer, which is DJI brand. I'm going to pull it out right here. I mean, there's subtle design differences, but you would have to really stare at it to see. From the fit, the pop them into the drone, pop them out. They insert and they remove in the same fashion, from my experience. and they cost a lot less. So for that reason, that's another that's another win for the Phantom 2 as well as the Phantom 2 Vision Plus. And I know that something that a lot of people may not have considered, and it's a lot of people may look at, why do you need 4K on a drone? That just costs extra money, and you're not going to use it, this, that, and the other. But what people don't understand, what a lot of people don't realize yet, is that by filming in 4K, and this is not just applicable to drones, but by filming in 4K, and all my studio right now is 4K, by the way. That camera right behind me, that's the FDR AX100 Sony, and then my run and gun camera, or point and shoot camera rather, is a Lumix LX100. But the advantage to 4K is that you can basically negate the need to snap still photos. So you're out at a nature location, or you're out at a beach, or wherever for that matter. You can roll that continuous 4K video, and you're getting an image quality that's twice 1080p. So 1920 by 1080 is 1080p. I'm horrible with math, so I'm going to add this up here. So 4K would be 1920 times 2, 3840 by 1080, 1080 times 2, 1080 times 2. So 3840 by 2160. So if you load up a still photo on your computer that's 3840 by 2160, unless you're a photography snob, you can extract a still image from that continuous video. And this is why it's so valuable for me, and it's obviously something that would be valuable for when and if they do give the thumbs up for commercial use of drones. It would be something that would be super valuable, because if you've got a drone, it doesn't have to be this Phantom 2, it could be any drone with a 4K camera, and you've got a pilot that's qualified, and they're semi-experienced. They may not be the best person at at snapping the photo or flying over an object or whatever, but if they've got continuous 4K video, they can fly, and then once they take that video home, they can then sit down frame by frame within Final Cut Pro 10 or whatever and extract a high quality, as the resolution I said, what was it, 3840 by 2160, whatever 1920 times 2 and 1080 times 2 was. They can extract a still photo that's of that resolution. So basically, you're not sitting there and snapping, snap still, snap still, snap still. You're filming continuously, and then in post-production, you're extracting the absolute perfect moment from whatever object you were flying over. So that's one of the huge advantages to 4K that a lot of people don't even realize right now, and that's why I had to build this was for the 4K by way of the GoPro Hero 4 Black Edition that you see on there. So what other drones does everyone have out there? There's well, let's see, we got a comment from STK's Adventure Channel. Actually, he has, and I'm sure everyone's familiar with Summertime Ken. He's flown into Nashville, and Nashville, Tennessee is in a state of not severe weather, but a state of a very frosty weather right now. They've got snow and ice everywhere, and so his internet is down. Otherwise, he would be here in the conversation with us. So, Summertime Ken, thanks as always for joining, man. I wish your internet was up. I know you're on your cell phone right now.
Yeah, he put up a good video yesterday with of the ice over there. It looked really cool with that he went up with the drone. Summertime.
Yeah, he did a cool one. Yeah, I watched that one too, man. That was. Did you see his video about the drive-through at Crystal?
What happened?
He did he went through the Crystal drive-through, and they've got this thing you can get. It's like 24 sandwiches.
Yeah, I have to talk to him. He made me go to Crystal today from watching that video, so I had to go buy some Crystal myself.
Yeah, he tore that stuff up.
I didn't get the steamer, but I had to go by and get some. I watched the video the other day, and I was thinking about him, thinking I'm on my way here today. And I was like, let me go stop and pick some up.
That's awesome. Yeah, I had some fried chicken for breakfast today. I was feeling good about that.
Did you see the FAA regulations that they released for on the 15th of this month?
No, what?
Is that proposed
the ones where
regulations? What they're actually looking at doing?
Yeah, the ones where they proposed, and this, you may have seen a different one where they proposed what was it, TSA inspection or something, and a written exam administered by the FAA. Is it that one?
I gotta look at it. Let me see if I can. Let's see. They asked for operator. Basically, that you would be considered an operator. Yeah, you have to pass. You have to pass an initial knowledge test at an FAA-approved testing center and be vetted by the TSA. That's in order to, to get your, what do they call it? To get your operator certification is what they're talking about.
I wonder what in the world the TSA would have to do with a drone.
I'm not sure. I know that they were saying that you'd have to put the lettering on the craft. I just want to know what size lettering I'm going to have to put on the Bebop.
That's a good point. Hey, I've got to run over here really quick. I've got something going on. I'll be right back in just a second.
No problem. Okay. Let's see. Is there any questions from anyone in the for me?
Okay. So let's see. What other topics we got?
See, my dogs aren't here to bother me, so.
He's practically a dog. He's a miniature bobcat. Yeah, he's a studio cat. He lives in here, and he's actually he helps to produce videos. But there is one drone, and I wish there was another drone person that was going to join us tonight. Because of all the technical difficulties had in the beginning, I think that kind of messed that up. But there's something called it's called a Q500. Has anybody out there heard of the Q500?
From Q500. That's the one from. Is that the new one from Hubson's coming out?
Is it Hubson or is it? Let's see. Let's load it up and see here. I think it may be a different brand.
Unit. It's the Unit Q500. Yeah.
It's crazy. I had it up. Did you find it?
Yeah, that one looks. That's what's supposed to be pretty much on par with with a Phantom 2 Vision Plus then, right?
Yeah, I think so. It's got a camera built in, and it's I think it's 1080p now, but from what I've heard from,
Yeah, that's what it says on here. 12 megapixel photo, the 3-axis gimbal.
I think they're supposed to be coming out with a 4K model in the next few months.
Yeah, my only issue, even with the Vision Plus, is like you were saying, with having a camera that's set to the drone. You know, with your setup there, you know, they come out with something better as far as what you're using as a GoPro now. You know, the next generation of GoPros come out. You most likely can still use it on that same drone. So you're going to get better video quality and not have to change the platform. If you're happy with the way that it flies and everything, you know, the characteristics of it, you wouldn't have to change it. That's my only, even with the Bebop, that's one of the downsides. You stuck to what they gave you. Because even if they come out with a 4K camera for the Bebop, unless it's something that the software is going to be able to recognize, and you can take out the 1080 camera, put the 4K in, you know, you're stuck with that. You'll have to buy another drone. You know, it looks, I don't know. It's the same issue with the Inspire. The Inspire looks like they'll be able to, I guess what it was pitching though, when better cameras come out, you'll be able to put the better camera on it, but it'll still be a DJI camera. I don't know if you know more about that.
Well, and I think you've nailed it on the head right there, because especially with GoPros, I would be willing to bet that. Oh, sorry. With the you know, GoPro entering the drone game, I bet you anything, unless they strike some sort of deal with DJI, if they decide, you know, hey, we don't, you know, few things are going to happen. DJI is going to go 100% DJI camera only, and you know, and even with their Phantom, I bet you when Phantom 3 comes out, there's probably not going to be a Zenmuse for the Phantom 3 in preparation for GoPro's competition. Now, the other way to look at it is that what could happen, you know, you've got GoPro, established action camera company, you know, maybe they decide to buy DJI. You know, they buy their technology, and now, you know, now DJI is a proven product that GoPro can use their investment dollars to further enhance the technology and further mate the already proven DJI technology with their GoPro action camera. That's another possibility. The other thing we may see someone like, and I'm just throwing names out there, like an Apple computer. We all know that Apple computer is, you know, you can't build it yourself. You got to build it, you know, you got to buy it and spec it out the way they want it to be if you're going to use it. But if you saw like an Apple computer get into the drone game, you know, we could see, I could easily see someone like an Apple computer buying out GoPro and saying, hey, you know, we're going to take over your action camera business, we're going to take over the drone business, and we're going to redesign it in a way to where, you know, it just looks better, feels better, you know, it's lighter, faster, stronger, you name it. So it's kind of like the early days of computers. I mean, you know, and I know there's a lot of viewers that are out there with us right now that may be of a younger demographic, which is absolutely cool. But if you grew up with computers, if you grew up with Microsoft DOS, which was before Windows, and you grew up with these technologies, you didn't at the time understand where those technologies were going to go. You didn't know that Microsoft DOS, MS-DOS, you know, black screen, white text, you didn't know that that was going to evolve into being able to run Windows, which is, you know, graphical user interface, which was then going to evolve into word processing software, graphics software, video editing software, you know, you name it, video games, it's all there. And that's something that a lot of people may not have been able to see. Even if they were forward-looking people, they may not have been able to see that coming. And I think right now, that's where we are now. We've got this new toy. We've got a Bebop. We've got a Phantom 2. We've got a, you know, just a random drone that someone purchased online that, that enables them to put a controller in their hand and take up in the sky, and it may or may not have a camera attached to it. Where is this technology going to go? And I think from a regulations perspective, as we had mentioned earlier, we've got Big Brother. They're saying, well, where do we want this to go? And I think that they're wising up from the perspective. They're like, well, this isn't a toy. This isn't a nuisance that we can just shut down and say ban drones, ban drones, ban drones. I think that even the government sees the opportunity from a business perspective, tax dollars, and I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't figure out a way to tax this beyond other types of businesses. Who knows? I mean, that's just, if they really want to approve it, that's something they could do. But I think it's something to where, we're learning, we're hobbyists. Ultimately, all of us on this channel, we're having a good time. We're playing with these things because, not only is it something that's fun to learn and something that's, just cool to take out in the backyard and fly around, but it's questioning what's next. What can we do with this? I mean, we're already seeing, and DJI indicated, that was one thing I got out of there. I don't know if everyone here watched the press release where Jamie and Adam from the Mythbusters, they were all out in California, and they unveiled the Inspire One that we were talking about earlier. But something else they unveiled then was the software, and basically, and I'm not an architect or savvy with that type of stuff, but basically it's a way to fly over an object and to create a computer rendition of what that object is. So just another use for drones in the future. So I mean, right now, yeah, we're having a good time with these. But it's going to be better to have a good time when the technology has evolved and we can say, well, we can have a good time with this, but look at how many companies I've created, and look at how I retired at whatever age, insert your age here, because these are creating an opportunity, just like the internet bubble did for a lot of us older people. These drones are creating an opportunity that people can shape into whatever they want to create for themselves. So it's intriguing from that perspective. At least that's one of the main reasons that I like the drones.
Yeah. No, the usage for it is even beyond having fun with it. The things that you're going to be able to use it for. Aside from Amazon wanting to deliver packages and whatnot, which that may or may not come. I know from the FAA regulations that they're looking at putting in, it kind of squishes it because you have to have line of sight.
Yeah.
So that's kind of not going to work for them. But as far as, even things that are very useful, search and rescue and, checking stuff out. I read an article, I forget where, that there's a fire department somewhere, I forget where, but they get calls every so often about these trucks going off of cliffs or something. And they can actually they actually ordered a drone. I forget what they ordered. They've ordered one so that when the firefighters go out there, they don't have to scale down to see if someone's in the car. They can actually send the drone down and look first and see if it's worth their time to go down there. But stuff like that, you're gonna see it. In my opinion, you're gonna see that start to branch out, and it's gonna create other companies that are designing different types of drones, not just for camera use, not just for not just for daily, what people use them for now, just for a lot of other purposes. I can see it helping out in a lot of different industries. A lot of there's a lot of stuff to be done, and no one really knows where it's all going to actually go. The big thing is obviously they got to get their regulations in order. I do understand there to be a need for some regulation, especially when it comes to commercial. For like us that we're just flying it, having a good time, taking some pictures. As long as you're being responsible, I don't think there's any issues. I don't take risks when I fly as far as putting anyone in danger or anything like that. But when you're doing it for commercial purposes where you are making money on it, I do understand them wanting to put some sort of regulation in. You know, any field that you go into, you have to do some sort of licensing, whether it's, you know, most states, whether you're doing real estate or you're doing home inspections or you're doing massage therapy or whatever you're doing, you have to go and get some sort of certification when you're dealing with the public, you know. I think once they have that in order, that they don't go crazy. Like, I know this to me is good news, because they were actually, from what I was hearing, a lot of people, they were thinking the FAA was going to require a pilot's license to go pilot a drone, and that's insane. You know, besides the cost factor, just, you know, you have to have, you know, your health and your medical approval and all that to fly a remote control little, you know, especially they're going to slap you to fly the Bebop with that.
Yeah, and that would put a lot of people out, because I mean, there's a lot of people, including myself. I mean, I don't mind flying, but I always get nervous when I'm up there. And I mean, with that being said, I mean, there's no way that if you told me that as a commercial, you know, drone operator, that I was going to have to pass a test and I was going to have to fly an airplane like a Cessna or something like that, there's no way I would do that. And if I did do it, I wouldn't be in condition to fly, because I wouldn't feel safe. I mean, you know what I mean? I mean, it would be one of those things that would limit a lot of people. But yeah, I mean, let's see. We've got, Michael Kincaid joined us, Tony Grant TV, Uptown Disco, Fruch Staffman, and a lot of comments coming in here. What I think we need to do, and this is just kind of a teaser show, and you know, I wanted to kind of start this off and get everybody together, because we've got a large, and that's the value of YouTube, is that we've got a large demographic of like-minded people. And I intended to have about 5 guests on here today, but if you tuned in the beginning, you saw that I had camera problems, I had audio problems. What I'm going to do is work the next week, and I'm going to figure out the studio problems, get all that tweaked, and then I will. What I'd like to do in the next 2 weeks or so is get another live show up. Obviously, give everybody advance notice so we can all attend, and I'll make sure my studio equipment's working ahead of time. That was today was my fault. I didn't have all of that, so it was improvised. But fortunately, we're all here, and we've had a good we've had a really good starter conversation. I mean, just to kind of quickly recap, we've talked about the Parrot Bebop, DJI Phantom 2, our thoughts about the Inspire One, another drone called the Q500, and there's a lot of more room for other conversations. And I mean, this is just the tip of the iceberg. So what I'd like to do at this point is, number one, I'd like to thank Unison. Thank you so much for joining in, man.
All right, thank you for having me.
I'm glad we were able to get on here, man. It was rough in the beginning with the technical difficulties. So
that's why I wanted you to take over for that, because I haven't used this before. So I was like, I'll let him deal with the issues. He can work them out.
Well, you know what I'll tell you, man. The lighting, your lighting and everything. I mean, it's like in the camera angle, everything's perfect, man. Your audio's good, so.
And I'm using a MacBook Pro and office lights.
It looks good, man. So we'll do it the next time. We'll have it. See, I was gonna be sitting over there, and I was gonna have the green screen going, but yeah, that didn't work. But it'll work next time. And so if you're watching this, I see a lot of the fans, the big time drone fans on here right now. Shoot me a message. You can email me. I do check my YouTube messages, but I'm more of an email guy. So send me an email. Just go to IrixGuy.com or email me directly, IrixGuy@gmail.com, and let me know you want to be in. And again, I apologize to everyone that was on that list for this show. I didn't exclude anyone. It's just I had the technical difficulties, and it turned out that Unison and I were the only 2 people that were able to make it into this one. So it's getting kind of late. I got to eat some dinner and play with my drone. So Unison, thanks again for thanks for joining. Thanks for all the viewers out there. And Michael just saw his comment. There's about a 30-second broadcast delay here. He said, how do I get on the video chat? Actually, I had technical difficulties tonight, and you were on the list, as well as quite a few other people. So I had technical difficulties in the beginning. Next time I do this show, I'm going to plan it about a week or so in advance. And what will happen is that about 20 minutes prior to the show, I'll have the studio open so we can all dial in, test our audio, test our video, make sure everything's okay, and we can that was funny. Summertime Ken said, "No more steamers for me." Those are those.
Yeah,
he only
I'm
did
good
for
for a while
12
now too.
He only did. What did you eat? How many did you eat? Summertime Ken, was it 12? 12 out of 24.
Yeah, I got I had a 12-pack today, but I didn't eat them all either. I gave some away.
That's awesome. Well, and we got somebody else got to say goodbye to this show, and then we'll have another show. Let me interrupt him really quick. Oh, yeah, Sean Coonery says, y'all have a perfect day, and thank you for your viewership, and Unison, thanks for joining. Everyone on the chat, thanks for joining. And Sean Coonery says, y'all have a good day, and we'll do it again in the next few weeks. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
Sounds good. Have a good night, man.
You too.
See ya.
Yeah.